Games in 1972. I've always enjoyed being an adventurer.
I was flying with my daughter and there was an ad that popped up. Would you like to become an astronaut? Would you like to go to space? And I said yes.
John is one of the most incredible people I've ever met. The fact that he's been following this company for 18 years just for this moment, I think that's very special.
For some reason, I seem to attract myself to these experiences. But when I got diagnosed with Parkinson's, I thought, well, that's it. They're not going to accept me. The fact that I'm now going to space with Parkinson's is completely magical.
Virgin Galactic is breaking down barriers for space travel and scientific research.
From the regulatory side to the engineering side, it's amazing to see all of these pieces come together. The new space age means diversity, imagination, and adventure all will have a home in space. We've built a space line, and now it's time to go. This is revolutionary.
My name is Anastasia Mears.
My name is John Goodwin.
Keisha Shaha. I'm the first person from Antigua to go to space.
For me to go into space is hopefully inspirational to all people.
It really does just connect everyone.
This is for all of us.
Space for all opportunity.
We all need to get out of our comfort zone, try new things, to believe in ourselves.
These are pre-space tiers. This is standard issue tiers, totally required to go into space.
Welcome, everyone, and prepare yourself. There will definitely be pre-space tiers. Thank you for joining us on this momentous day as we bring you coverage of our first private astronaut commercial spaceflight, Galactic 2. I'm Sarisha Bandla. I run research operations and government affairs here at Virgin Galactic, and I had the privilege of becoming astronaut 004 on our Unity 22 test flight. We're coming to you live We're coming to you live from our home at Spaceport America, set in the beautiful state of New Mexico here in the US. Days like today don't come around all too often. They're special days that mark moments where boundaries are broken and what we thought to be impossible is redefined. As you saw in the intro, the crew aboard our first private astronaut flight today are unique. They're history makers. They're not only achieving their own dreams, but they're also inspiring the entire world. On board, we have the first Olympian to go to space, the first astronauts from Antigua and Barbuda, the first mother-daughter duo to fly to space, and the youngest astronaut in history. And also, one of my personal favorites, this is the most women ever in a single space flight, and our mission is also majority female, which is huge given that less than 100 women have gone to space total in our history. The list goes on for this incredible crew, and I can't wait for you to get them to know them more on this show. But first, let me introduce you to my co-host, our Mission Insights Specialist, Jonathan Ritchie. For those of you who have joined us before, you know that our Mission Insights Specialist will give you live play-by-play updates direct from Mission Control. So thanks for joining us again, JR.
Thanks, Sarisha. What a pleasure it is to be in the studio with you today. I can't wait to get into this flight and share it with all of our viewers across the world.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here in the studio. And
thank you.
Can you tap into that special power of yours and give us an update on our crew and our vehicles?
Yes, I can. So, as you can see, the vehicles are already airborne. We have, earlier this morning, observed a perfect takeoff from our runway here at Spaceport America with Eve, the mothership, piloted by astronauts Nicola Pacelli and Mike Masucci. Mothership Eve has completed the climb to launch altitude, which for today's flight is 44,500 feet. But in addition to that launch altitude, there's also a designated launch point within the airspace. Everything is looking fantastic. As I said, we're already at altitude. We're at 46,000 feet right now, and just a beautiful view you get from up there. I imagine our crew are taking it in, and they're preparing themselves as we get closer and closer to that big moment.
Amazing. I can feel the anticipation, and I'm not even on board. Now, the individuals today on board bring with them a wealth of diverse motivation and wonderful stories that make them one of the most extraordinary crews to ever fly to space. And when I say it out loud, I really just can't help but feel immense pride. It's always been Virgin Galactic's core mission to broaden access to space, giving more people from all corners of the globe more opportunities to experience the wonder and awe of space travel. And today really feels like the start of something very special. Now, on board first, we have John Goodwin, an Olympian and one of the first Virgin Galactic ticket holders. He's waited 18 years for this. John is joined by Keisha Shahoff and Anastasia Myers, a Caribbean mother-daughter duo who won their seats in a draw that raised funds for nonprofit Space for Humanity. These three remarkable individuals show that the barriers that once existed to becoming an astronaut are being broken down. Now, to date, fewer than 700 people have traveled to space. And not only that, but the rich diversity of humankind is still really truly to be represented. And we're here to change that, beginning with an 800-strong community of future astronauts that come from astonishing 60 different nations across the globe. And some of them will be the first of their nation to experience space. And that is certainly true of today. And I know we have a lot of future astronauts joining us from around the globe here on our live stream. So a huge shout out to all of our future astronauts in that incredible community.
You know, Sarisha, that's what I really love about Virgin Galactic. We're allowing people that chance to realize the dream of going to space, a dream that I hope to realize myself one day.
I know you'll get to space one day, JR. I'm excited. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Keisha and Anna will be the first ever Antiguan astronauts. Now, historical occasions like this bring communities together. The whole island is celebrating this milestone, including guest Prime Minister Gaston Browne and Virgin's founder, Sir Richard Branson. And we're going to go live to Antigua, where our very own astronaut 006, Christopher Huey, is at the celebration. Chewie, what's it like over there? All right, it looks like we have a few technical difficulties, so we'll try to check in a little bit later. But I saw some of the celebration, honestly, a bit earlier, and it looked amazing. There was a huge crowd there supporting Anna and Keisha. We saw Chewie give a presentation about the flight to the crowd. It just looked like all of them were having an incredible time. So we'll try to check in a little bit later. Now, we know that space has this amazing ability to bring people together, and that was on full display in Antigua. But there's also a lot of other parties going on as well. And we'll go in and check on those a bit later. So, it's just couldn't be more excited. Now, what looks like, let's go and check in on the people on board. Their stories are so inspiring, and I can't wait to get to go into their stories and have our entire audience join them on their journeys. Now, John Goodwin, let's start with astronaut 11, an Olympian and one of our first ticket holders. Let's take a look at John's story.
I've been waiting a quarter of my life on this earth to go into space. I'm 80 now. The fact that I'm now going to be doing this is completely magical. I watched the landing on the moon with great interest in 1969, and it's incredible to think that I'm here.
John is such an interesting man. He is one of the most incredible people I've ever met.
He's such a daredevil. This guy lives.
I kayaked in the Olympic Games in 1972. I organized an expedition of 14 people. The record still stands today. I seem to attract myself to these sort of things. When I got diagnosed with Parkinson's, I thought, well, that's it. They're not going to accept me.
We're going to space despite the Parkinson's.
This attitude of space for all is a wonderful thing.
Hearing his story makes me realize I'm going to be sharing this mission with such an amazing human.
To space.
This opportunity is completely unreal. For me to go into space and defy Parkinson's is hopefully inspirational to all people.
Now, John Goodwin's community in Stoke, England are watching together. And in New York City, friends are gathered at the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's research to watch as well. He's got a huge community supporting him, and he'll only be the second person diagnosed with Parkinson's to fly to space. Next up, we have Keisha Shahoff, astronaut 12. Keisha won 2 seats through a philanthropic fundraising sweepstakes benefiting Space for Humanity, a nonprofit organization. Their mission to send more diverse humans to space and change perspectives resonated with Keisha and encouraged her to enter. Let's take a look at Keisha's journey.
In my dreams, I'm always flying.
3, 2, 1, release.
I've lived all my life by the water, but I feel more connected in the air. My first interest in space really started when I was 2 years old, just looking up in the skies. How can I become an astronaut? Being in the Caribbean, I didn't see how that was possible. So slowly I started letting that go. But the universe was calling me.
You're going to space! So you would be the first astronaut from Antigua, of course.
Making history.
You're making history.
It's a very inclusive mission. My lifestyle is very much grounded. The same way that I live is how I educate and I help others in my coaching program. I hope to inspire people in this region to get beyond their limitations. When I was asked the question, I want 2 seats, who's coming with me? Anna looked over at me and she says, Mom, if anyone is going with you to space, it's going to be me. I feel like to be successful in this life, you have to be able to bend and stretch yourself. It's an adventure of humility and humanity. How can we come together to make this realistic for everyone? This is our mission. This is for all of us.
Okay, Keisha's reaction to being told she's going to space just embodied an incredible amount of excitement. And to make Keisha's experience even more remarkable, she chose her youngest daughter, Anastasia Myers, astronaut 13, a college philosophy and physics student, to be her companion. Let's get to know Anna.
Every time I look at the stars, it almost feels like I have a place in the universe. It reminds me that like everything happens for a reason. I've always been interested in any sort of science. I think it was in about grade 3 or grade 4 we started learning about astronomy. That made me so deeply interested in finding out what else is out there. I'm studying philosophy and physics in University of Aberdeen in Scotland. I want to be an astrobiologist. That thought seemed like it was so almost impossible.
I do believe if she puts her mind on whatever it is she wants, I know she will achieve it.
Hi, Anna. You and your mother are going to space.
Anna, we won! I know I am very young. There's so many other people like me wanting to do something involving space and don't think that they actually have the opportunity to do that. Virgin Galactic's mission is to expand this to civilians. Ideas are very powerful. We all need to get out of our comfort zone, to try new things, to believe in ourselves.
I mean, when I said this crew is incredible, might have been an understatement. They're absolutely extraordinary.
Yes, they are.
Now, I've heard that we have our feedback from Antigua, so let's check in with Chewy on the celebrations.
Make sure they know to bring the audio down. All right, testing, 1, 2, 3, am I in? We're good? Sarisha, I'm here on the ground in Antigua, and the energy is absolutely off the charts. Now, we're coming right off the heels of Carnival, and we are gathered here for an amazing watch party where the people are gonna go crazy! Space has this amazing ability to bring people together, and we've got waving flags, we've got music, we've got dancing, maybe a little rum, I don't know, but everyone here is really excited for Keisha and Anna. Back to you in the studio, Sarisha.
Amazing. I can feel the celebration. It's amazing. I can feel the energy. It's incredible. Now, going to our pilots who are going to be taking our dynamic crew to space, I want to introduce Our commander of Unity, astronaut CJ Sturcow, a retired Marine test pilot and former NASA astronaut. Sturcow is a veteran of 4 space shuttle missions and 3 Virgin Galactic Unity missions. He's the first person to launch to space from 3 different states. Piloting...
4.5 minutes out from release. That's an estimate based on our expected time of arrival at the release point, and that gets closer and closer to being accurate as we get closer and closer to that release point. So at this point, 4.5 minutes out, that's a fairly accurate estimate.
All right, you know, space flight is not just a trip to space. I know we're following our crew to their release altitude, but it's an experience that starts well before the rocket lights. And this crew has an amazing amount of supporters behind them. Their friends, families, and communities around the world they're inspiring. Let's take a look at some special messages sent in for this crew.
Former NASA astronaut Ron Guerin here. I can't wait for you to hear 3, 2, 1, release, release, release.
Keisha and Anastasia, good luck on the space trip.
Hello, John.
You truly are an inspiration.
My heartfelt wishes for a safe and a meaningful space flight. Remember that you carry with you the dreams of so many others as you carry us all closer to the stars.
Anastasia, now you are representing the university of Aberdeen in space. I'm just sending a message to all the students and the community that our dreams can come true.
Congratulations to my cousin Keisha. I'm so happy you put the energy out there, and Virgin Galactic, you caught it.
We knew you were born to fly.
You're going to be inspiring a whole generation of young Antiguan and Barbudans.
Hi, I'm Keisha. I miss you a lot. And I'm happy your dream came true.
Good luck to the entire crew, and especially Anna. We're so happy for you.
We're supporting you, and we're all here for you.
This is just a huge historic moment.
I'll be watching from here in Australia.
Here in the UK.
From Antigua.
From Iceland.
From Edinburgh.
Godspeed.
Bring me back a Mars bar.
Now, as astronaut Ron Guerin said, at this point, we're getting close to our release point. So I'll turn it over to our Mission Insight specialist, Jonathan Ritchie, to take us through some of those final checks and talk us through what happens after release as well.
Thank you, Sarisha. So at this point, the pilots are ensuring that the spaceship is in its launch configuration. You know, after I just said we're that time estimate's pretty accurate at this point. Well, we went and adjusted it. So we're about 3.5 minutes out right now and currently conducting our L-4 checks. That's a series of checks that we accomplish at designated points on our flight profile to ensure that the spaceship is go for launch. This is also when Spaceship Unity will isolate its air supply from Eve and prime the rocket motor by opening the backup oxidizer valve. Once these actions are complete, the pilots will seek clearance for release from the MCC, that's shorthand for the Mission Control Center. The MCC team consists of experts across various departments and disciplines within the company, and they're verifying these checks with our crew every step of the way. For me, this is where I really start to feel the anticipation building and get excited. I can only imagine what it'd be like to be on board right now.
This is really the time when the anticipation builds. All you're thinking about is that release point and getting into that boost and honestly getting into space. It's gonna just, it's so exciting.
And I just heard the L-4 checks are complete. So as you just mentioned that release point, right after that, the crew lights the rocket motor, and Unity's trajectory to space starts in that horizontal release position before turning towards space, a maneuver that we refer to as the gamma turn. And then the rest of the rocket motor burn occurs in the vertical. We're now 2 minutes out from release.
The rocket motor boost was one of my favorite parts of the flight. Seeing the Earth drop away and seeing space come into view is just absolutely exciting. And of course, our Bye.